We're live on Facebook Live?
Yes.
Chad, can you tell me what time it is Eastern time, please?
7:02.
Okay. So, hi, everybody on Facebook Live. I'm Tara Marie of Tara Marie, host of Tara Marie Live. This is my beautiful guest, Orly Amor. Orly Amor. Amor. We are half an hour late starting. Chad, do you realize that?
Yes, I do. I'm sorry.
Okay. And so, but Chad said that I could blame him, which is what I like to do. I like to blame other people. The reason we're late, all right, so we had a little mishigas go down here at the studio. So we apologize. We were supposed to start at 6:30. I realized that we promoted that for the last couple days, but we had a little mishigas. Is that that's the right word, right,
no,
Chad?
you're saying that perfectly.
That's the right word,
perfectly used.
Because I'm the Italian Jew, right?
Yes.
I'm the Italian. So Chad accidentally spilled something on me.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
And you can see it on my sweater. So we're trying to cheat me away from the camera
but
like
I'm telling
that.
you could have gotten away with it. It just looks like a shadow.
No,
you don't have to call me out on
the
it.
reason I did that was because if I turn my body to you guys, I don't want you to think that I'm having a lactation emergency on camera. But I wanted to say I'm sorry that we're starting late, but this is going to be a fantastic show. I hope you can stick around. What we're doing is what we do all the time. We're coming to you from the Hangar Studios, which is here in Midtown Manhattan, right in the heart of New York City. And we're pre-recording my podcast. So we turn it into a TV show for you. You can watch it here on Facebook Live. This is my guest this week. Next week, this episode of the podcast will come out. And so you can watch it now. You can put it in a podcast form on your phone or on your computer next week and listen to it again and again. This is going to be a fantastic show. We're going to start in just a moment. I want to say hello to Chad. And Chad had a birthday last week.
I did. I am halfway to 90. That's a big milestone.
Can we tell your birthday? Can we tell your age?
Yeah, 45.
Okay, Chad is 45.
Yes.
Chad's 45, and he's looking good. He's a beautiful 45-year-old. And today we've also got in the studio with us, we've got someone who is going to be joining the team named Jack, and he's not on a mic, so he can't say hello, but he'll be with us next time.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Chad, do you want to do a sound check?
Yeah, you sound great. Can I hear from Orly? And hi, Orly.
Hi, how are you?
We're great. Thank you for doing this.
Awesome.
Orly, if you can just give me a little sound check.
Sure. What would you like me to say?
What did or did you not eat for breakfast? Because I'm starving.
I had cheese for breakfast.
Oh, that's very European.
Queso.
This sounds great. Oh, you know what we have to do before we begin a little further?
Our cover image.
You gotta give me a cover image. So cheese the camera, ladies.
Okay, so clean up the como so they say clean up the set.
And that mug, your mug, Tara, that's really close.
Yeah.
Move it a little bit closer to you.
Closer to me.
Closer to that back wall. There you go.
I see.
Okay. Yeah.
I see.
Oh, beautiful. Okay. Yeah. That would look good for the cover image.
Okay, so what we're doing now, so people don't think that we're dorkos, we have to do like a cover image for the video. Mm-hmm. So we have to stop and so Chad, how do I look natural? How can I look natural?
I don't know if you. These things are always weird. It's forced natural.
Make sure your lipstick doesn't on your teeth.
I'm not wearing
any.
any. Oh, you meant
ready?
Orly.
Does this look? Chad, let's do a couple. Okay, ready?
Hold it. Oh, that's going to work.
Is that going to work?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can we do one more just in case we look dorky? Yes,
give me another one, yeah.
Okay, because I always worry that I look dorky.
Your viewers who are watching this right now really get a behind-the-scenes look at the...
Right.
Exactly.
This is so exciting, the exciting world of podcasting.
Yep.
Okay, wait, sit up straight. Okay, ready?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, ready.
That's perfect.
Is that good?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So, the last thing we need to do is, can you do me a favor, Tara?
Yes.
Because it's going to make my job a lot easier, and I know I have the gall to ask you for something after I spilled liquids on you today.
Yes.
So I apologize. That's very nervy of me.
Yes, what?
But can you just clap into the microphone, please?
Yes.
Perfect. That's it.
Okay.
That helps me a lot later when we do the audio swap.
Oh, okay.
You know, like in a movie, you see the clap?
Oh, got it.
You just gave me one of those.
Okay, I see. Okay.
Yeah,
Let me take a sip of water. Okay.
So we're ready to begin this podcast. I'm excited.
Okay, is anybody watching?
We got some people on. Hello, 4 viewers who are
the 4 of them
for now. Yes. Oh no, this takes a minute to warm up.
What the four? And
just cough right into that microphone, please.
My 4.
Just cough right into.
I'm having a flashback to when I started on internet radio, and I had 10 fans, but I was very good to them because when you only have 10, you can pay. But that was how I started. So never underestimate the power of small numbers.
That's right.
All right, are we ready, Chatty?
Yeah, we're great. Have a great show, ladies. And we're going to start the clock when you begin. Let's have a podcast.
Okay. Well, hello and welcome to Tara Marie Live. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm your host, Tara Marie Segundo, and I'm a fitness expert, a personal trainer, and a motivational strategist. And we're broadcasting right here from the Hangar Studios in New York City. Now, Tara Marie Live is about mental, emotional, physical, social, and spiritual health. And with this podcast, my goal is to provide you with information that will help you change your life for the better in all areas. Now, today we're doing a Facebook Live simulcast as we pre-record the podcast, so we welcome all of our Facebook friends. Welcome there. Today's topic is something that I love to talk about. We're talking about transformation. The reason I like this topic so much is because most of us have areas in our lives in which we excel and others where we could use some change. That's pretty much the truth for all of us. But for some reason, many of us stay stuck. We stay stuck in jobs we don't like. We stay stuck in relationships we don't like, bodies we don't like, situations we don't like, cities we don't like, blah, 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 blah. We stay stuck where we don't want to be. Now, many people are really good at complaining about their lives, but when it comes to committing to change, that's a very different story. So you know this, if you've ever bought a self-help book, if you're like most people, you either didn't finish reading it, or you read it, you gained a lot of knowledge, but you failed to apply the knowledge, and your life today is basically the same as it was before you bought the book. I see this in my own clients as a personal trainer. People are great at accumulating knowledge, but few are as good as at applying the knowledge and doing the work to change their lives in a permanent way. Well, my guest today understands this very well. She's worked diligently in her own life to commit to change, and by changing her life, I believe she actually saved her life. So I would like to welcome to you Orly Amor. She's an international public speaker, a best-selling author, and a business and personal coach to public speakers. Her book, The 12 Powers We Hold Within, is a powerful account of her life, which was filled with abuse and trauma in her early years, and how she saved herself. Orly has dedicated her career to impacting the lives of others by helping them realize their own mission-based goals and dreams. She's also a certified behavioral analyst, which has made her an indispensable coach to many influential corporate leaders. And welcome, Orly Amor.
Thank you, Tara Marie.
You know what that means, Chad, right? She's a certified behavioral analyst. She's analyzing your behaviors.
Yeah, I do
I've
feel a
already
little
profiled.
under. Am I owning responsibility for everything? Am I doing a good job today?
You're doing a great
Analyze.
job.
Whenever I interview a psychotherapist, a psychologist, or a psychiatrist, I always feel like I have to watch what I say.
I'm neither one of those.
But you're
a profiler.
a certified behavioral analyst. So she's watching you, Chad.
I feel watched.
Okay,
I'm profiling.
good. I'm glad.
But for what it's worth, I'm also watching you, so we're good.
Oh, yes.
Chad's always got his eyes
That's
on
right.
us.
That's right.
So I want to introduce Orly. Now, full disclosure, I've known Orly, I think, since I first interviewed you on 2015.
Yeah.
Okay. So I first interviewed Orly in 2015, and you had written this great book, The 12 Powers We Hold Within.
Right.
When I contacted you to interview you again, I did not know, because this is fairly new, that as of December 12th of 2017, you completely rewrote this book.
Mm-hmm.
This is a complete and total rewrite.
Yes.
It's now called Mindset Mastery, The 12 Powers We Hold Within, The Ultimate Paradigm Shift. You know me. I'm actually an interviewer who actually reads the book.
I know.
Right. I read this book cover to cover, every word of it, in 2 days. It was a very fast read, and it was a very enjoyable read. And I really think what's amazing about the book is that you're not someone who just talks a good game. You're someone who has had to live the game, and it gives you a lot of street cred, you know? You're a public speaker.
Yep.
And you're a business coach for public speakers. What is your ultimate mission and your purpose for doing what you do? Because I know that ties in. This is your whole life now.
Yes. So in 2015, actually, when you met me and we had the first version the first interview, my mission was to impact the lives of 200 million people by 2025, April 24th, 2025, which is giving me another 7 years.
Okay, yeah, 7
We're
years.
good, another 7 years. But I started it in 2015. And
Oh, you just started it?
No, I started this mission in 2015
Okay, got
to
it.
get to 200 million. We're like at 47 million right now.
Okay, got it.
It's really cool.
Okay.
So the reason everybody asks me, like, why 200 million? Why not 1 million? Why not 2 million? Why 200 million? And, it is something that we're going to be talking about. And you mentioned it earlier about reading a book and not implementing into your life. Well,
right.
How many people have read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill? Many people have read the book, but nobody would remember the story of Gandhi in that book that says that he harmoniously had 200 million people follow him for the fight against violence and hunger.
Gandhi said that?
Gandhi did that.
Okay.
He actually did it. So, and that's what the number was in that
Got
book.
it.
So that's where I took my 200 million. And the way that I'm impacting other people is by teaching how public speakers can go out there and speak in front of large audiences,
right.
get paid for it, and be able to help me with my mission, because it's not going to be just me. It's
right.
going to be all of us together.
Right. Right. And also part of it, I mean, public speaking actually relates to your book. Mm-hmm. I mean, here's what I like about this book. Quick plug, and she didn't ask me to do this, but this is the reason this book was so fast to read, I thought, was because, first of all, I felt like I was reading your journal, not a book. You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt like I was reading like your journal, and I felt like I was reading something that you wrote for me. Do you understand? Not for people, but for me.
Right. That's what I wanted.
Yeah, and I think that anybody, I mean, I know you're giving Chad a copy. Chad, you got a copy? Yeah?
I will, yes. And I look forward to reading it, yes.
Yeah. When you read the book, you feel like she's talking to me. And that's something that makes a book very easy to read. The other thing about this book that I like is you intersperse throughout the lessons of the book, the 12 powers, stories out of your life that illustrate each power, because everything you talk about in the book, you yourself had to overcome, which again, I believe gives you street credibility. It's not as interesting. Look, it's not as interesting for me to learn from someone who's never lived the struggle. It's far more interesting for me and more believable for me to listen to you if I know what you've overcome. And you do that in this book. So how does your public speaking relate to this project, the book?
The public speaking for me started in my alter life, which was property management. But after speaking at this women's shelter, which that's the story about saving someone's life, that's when I decided to actually do public speaking motivationally and other things that I talk about, because sharing your story, whether it's in public speaking or through a book, I encourage people to write a book.
Yeah.
There's contribution in that, and you just don't know whose life you're going to impact or save. So I want to help people understand that sharing is a good thing, and that's why it helps in public speaking, writing a book, whatever it is that you need to do. Don't keep it to yourself. Don't take it to the grave.
So yeah, and I was telling you this privately before we even started the show. Generally speaking, people who struggle in life, and I think people who are stuck, which is all of us at some point. I mean, let's be honest. I don't know anybody who doesn't struggle with something. So everybody's got something.
Totally.
It always dials back to that story, whatever the story is.
Sure.
Some people have a really traumatic story that'll just break your heart. Some people have different kinds of struggles but we all have struggles. We all have stories. And a lot of people, we were saying this, before we got on the air, have a lot of shame about their story. And that's what keeps them from sharing their story. And I know that when you talk about this, when you were asked to go speak at the women's shelter, they asked you many times and you declined. What kept you originally from wanting to open up about the life that you had lived?
It's exactly what you were saying. Shame, the vulnerability. I didn't want to show my vulnerability. Everybody who knew me as a happy person, as a go-getter, as a successful businesswoman, which I was. I didn't even appreciate it as much as I do today. But at the time, I wasn't appreciating it. I didn't look at myself the way other people looked at me. So by telling them, I had struggles or I had something happen to me that you don't know about, that was a big to do. I did not want to share my story at all.
You felt like you were going to lose your social mask of strength.
Right. I'm putting myself out there. They're going to think, oh, that's, she's like this. Oh, she had that happen to her. Oh, maybe we should not hang out with her. And that's really what was going through my mind. If they knew what I went through, would they still be my friends? Would they still be my clients? Would they still listen to me?
Okay.
That was
Would they respect me?
Would they respect
Would they
me?
love me? Would they want me?
Totally.
Would they accept
all
me?
of that. All of that. So I agree.
Yeah. So, okay. So that was what made you say yes to the woman? Like when they asked, was it because they just kept asking, or was it because
it was one of my girlfriends, and she was just annoying after 3 weeks calling me every single day.
Okay.
I said, what would help me, get you off the phone, because I'm about not to answer
yeah.
your phone anymore. I'm not answering your calls. And she said, if you say yes. And I said, look, all right, I'll say yes. And that's what it was. I was like, I have no choice now. Something has been bugging me. So if she's bugging me that much to tell my story, which I was not ready for, then I need to do it.
And you say that in that setting, when you spoke at the women's shelter, a woman approached you who had wanted to take her life?
So the first thing that happened was that everybody was in tears after I was done.
Because a lot of them probably resonated if they were in a women's shelter.
It's a women's shelter. Okay. There were stories that will make your heart break from even if you've been through something. And it's not to make one story better than the other. It's just we have been through whatever we've been through.
Right.
And getting off the stage, I was very overwhelmed because I've never experienced love after stepping off a stage. In my ulterior life, which was property management, I never got thank yous, and I never got a hug. I never got tears. I never got all these things. But one woman, approached me, and she was really crying profusely. She was not breathing. It was so bad. And I said, honey, you got to calm down. Everything is going to be okay. She said, no, you don't understand. I said, no, I do understand. You got to breathe, please. She was like hyperventilating. And I said, please, you got to calm down. And everybody around us was getting quieter and quieter until and back and forth we went. Then she yelled at me. She said, no, you don't understand. And I was taken aback. I had goosebumps. So I'm still having goosebumps telling you this. And I didn't know what to say. She took out a piece of paper out of her pocket, and she's like, this is how I was going to kill myself this morning. I don't even remember driving from my house to the shelter because this is not where I was going. You see over here? Everybody started crying. I started crying. But she goes, I listened to you speak, and I want to live. I just need you to show me how.
Oh, so you started working with her? Did you?
No, it wasn't. She was coming back to the shelter, so they were going to take care of this.
Okay.
And you got to respect the people who do what they do.
Yes.
So I did not take that over, but I was not thinking, oh, wow, this is cool. I was thinking, oh, my God, I just saved a life.
I have to do this.
This is my calling. This is what and this is the
thank God.
The feeling I want to repeat for the rest of my life.
Right.
That was the goal. It was not just, oh, wow, I saved one life. I'm like, oh, my God, that's the feeling I want to repeat.
I can do this.
I could do this. This is awesome.
Yeah. So what you did is, well, thank God for your girlfriend who kept pestering you.
Right.
I mean, seriously, props to her. But you also figured out a way to apply meaning to your suffering. So instead of your suffering just being a horrible part of your life that you tried to just kind of keep in the back of your mind so you didn't have to deal with it, you figured out a way to give meaning to it. And that's what helps us. That's what helps elevate us.
Sure.
Yeah, because otherwise, what I see with people is they either are able to give meaning to their suffering and actually help other people and give purpose to their lives through it, or they become stuck in it. They become depressed. They pull within. Their lives start to get smaller and smaller and smaller until they just wither away. Now, you say in the introduction that the 12 powers we hold within is a concept that's designed for people who are struggling with a traumatic experience that's keeping them from moving forward in life. Talk about that. So this is really for all of us. I mean, not all of us have experienced extreme trauma.
No, but it could be anything, like a heartbreak.
Yeah, a breakup, something like that.
Yeah. So people tend to focus a lot on the past.
Yes.
Past events, past circumstances, past. And they think that they've learned from them because now it makes them more apprehensive when they take chances, or that makes them
cynical.
And really, the past is not something you can control anyway. So why are you there?
Right.
And that's,
why are you giving energy to it?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, now you can maybe change or impact your present. Change it now. Change it with your mindset. And then focus on the future. If, tomorrow is not even promised to us, but how about just focusing on the excitement, getting excited about the future, about learning something, about doing something else, whatever it is. Because we tend to focus too much on the past.
We get stuck in it. We get stuck and we make excuses for where we are in life. Do you think everybody makes excuses for where we are? I think we all do. I've done it. We all do it.
We do it. We're human. So the thing is about humans is that they don't accept they're human. Because they don't accept their humanity, what happens is that they think they're a machine. And therefore, other humans are not going through what I'm going through. I'm alone in this world. And that's the theme that goes into our brain, is that I'm alone. I don't know what to do. So this is what I know. And that's what I'm going to be doing, living, staying at.
Okay.
But the excuses part is because it cannot be just me. It's something else. It's what happened to me. It's what happened, it was happened in my life.
An unwillingness to take responsibility. Yeah?
Yes, as a human being.
Okay.
Because what we think is that we can overcome things just by putting it away. It's still in our subconscious, though. We'll talk about that, right?
So we all make excuses. I think we do all make excuses.
We do.
You say that with excuses, and I've encountered this with my own clients. When you're a personal trainer, you hear a lot of excuses. I'm sure as a coach, I think any kind of coach hears excuses.
Oh, totally.
Right.
All day long.
Yeah. So, I mean, as a personal trainer, I've certainly heard a lot of excuses. That's to a large extent, I don't know if you know this, but one of the reasons that actual one-on-one personal training is not my focus anymore is because I got so sick of it.
Sure.
I got so sick of I couldn't hear one more excuse.
Right.
I just couldn't cope with it. I was getting high blood pressure. I couldn't because that's not how I operate, and so I couldn't hear it. I couldn't listen to it one more minute. But you say that with the excuses that we repeat to ourselves, that we've actually created neural pathways that have grown deep roots in our minds that get stronger every time we talk about the situation, either when we talk about it to ourselves or when we complain about it to somebody else. Talk about that.
So if we think about a thought, the thought is
let's pick an excuse.
Not even that. Just a thought. Any thought, excuse, whatever it may be. It doesn't really matter. Right? If you put a little circle on the paper and just draw one line out of the circle, that's the thought. That's one, right? While you're thinking about it again and again and again, add more lines to because you're duplicating that thought. It's the same thought. Now you're talking about it. That's again another line for every time you spoke about it.
And it's like roots.
Yeah, but all of them. So you think about 70,000 thoughts a day, and some of them are that multiple. And we'll talk about other things that happen in the brain later. But one of the things is that you're not realizing that you're doing this over and over again. So one of my things that I said at this shelter was, how many of you have been raped, right? And
probably a lot, yeah.
Right? So how many times a day do you think about it? 5? 4? How many times do you think about it? Because every single time you're thinking about it, you're actually reliving it. So you're anchoring all that again and again. Why?
You're anchoring it into your
You're
brain.
giving power to the person who assaulted you. Why would you do that to yourself? That person is no longer here. They're no longer a threat. They're no longer.
So with every thought you have, every excuse you have, when you repeat it to yourself, well, I can't lose weight because, or you tell it to your girlfriend, I can't lose weight because, or you think it in yourself as you're eating ice cream, I can't lose weight because you're just creating that deeper and deeper, rooted into your brain as your reality.
Correct. And then what happens with doing that, with repeating, repetition is the mother of skill, right? So we're now skilled at giving excuses, and we're skilled now, we're mastering giving excuses. So now the brain is thinking, yeah, you're right. You know what? You can't really lose weight.
Right. Because
the brain doesn't know the difference.
Who said the quote? Was it Henry Ford? If you think you can't, you're right. If you think you can, you're right.
That's right.
Either way, you're always right.
Correct. Yeah. Either way, you're right. Exactly.
Right. Because, Now, okay, so again, I want to nail that concept. Chad, that's powerful. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. I love those little sayings to get you through. Yeah.
No, but what I'm saying is that's powerful because again, as a trainer, you can imagine I hear excuses when I was seeing clients all the time.
I could give you 30 as to why I didn't work out today.
Right,
so
but they started to like, I couldn't take it anymore. Do you understand, Chad?
Of course, yeah.
I couldn't, I just said, I can't do this anymore. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. I just can't hear this because it's opposite of how I'm the type of, if I don't like something, all right, what should I do? I'll do this, and this. Let's start now. Like I can't do it. I can't do it. So that it's just genius that again, it anchors, it digs, burrows into your brain.
Yeah, and you don't know the difference.
And then that becomes your reality. Now, this book is riveting. Okay, let me start with this. Again, I sat and I read this really it was really like 1.5 sittings, but really primarily one. And it was just like a page turner. The story's riveting. It was very hard for me to read the beginning because I like you so much. And what you lived through between birth and 22, you wouldn't want to see anybody live through that.
Absolutely.
Right. Those 22 years of trauma and abuse led you to cope the best you could by abusing food, which is what a lot of clients I've worked with have done. You reached 428 pounds, which is dangerously unhealthy and obese.
Totally.
Do you mind telling us the trauma that you overcame?
No, I don't mind at all.
Like I can't. Yeah, like when I sit, I mean, like it's like I can't. As I'm reading it, because I know you, I'm thinking, no way, because you're so not bitter, and you're just so lovely, and you're so light. And I posted your picture. I don't know if you saw it on my Facebook page in one of the posts, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, she's so beautiful." I think they thought it was me.
And I are beautiful.
No, but I had to. No, they thought, and I kept saying thank you, but that's Orly, my guest tomorrow. They thought I was posting like a big photo of myself, which is kind of funny. But so I said thank you, that's Orly, but you have such a bright light about you. I would never look at you or meet you randomly and think that you had lived through that. Tell your story. Chad, listen.
I'm listening.
Pay attention.
I'm listening.
This is good. This is the good. No,
Amor, my gosh.
This is the good part of the interview.
I know.
Okay.
I'm listening. Okay,
yes,
yes,
so
we're
sweet.
ready.
No, I love Chad. Chad's my radio boo. Is that
right.
the nickname I gave you?
I like that. Yeah, I'll go by that.
Chad's my radio boo. He's my radio boo. Okay, so tell us.
So, when people tell me, okay, tell me your story.
Oh, God.
And I say, well, listen, I'm going to tell it to you in 18 seconds, but I don't want you to think at one point or another that I don't think of it as being horrible.
Right.
I just don't, I'm over it.
You don't dwell.
I don't dwell on it, so I can't cry about it. I don't want to cry about it. It's done with.
Right.
So I'm giving that as
And also, it got you where you are today.
Totally.
So, not that you would ever want to...
I'm proud, but I'm not... dwelling on
Correct.
it to like cry on somebody's shoulder.
Correct.
This is not a pity party.
Right.
That's why. So, yes, I was a beaten up child. Both of my parents beat us up, most my mother, then my father. Mm-hmm. I was molested 4 times before the age of 14 by 4 different men. I was raped 4 times. In the book, it says 3 times only because my marriage rape I didn't count. And 2 of the rapes were gang rapes. Within 9 months apart. And I was left for dead twice. So when people say to me, how come you're so happy? I tell them because every day above ground is a good day. Because I wake up with that.
Yeah.
Twice. I was left in an alley at minus 5 degrees Celsius in Canada. So that's when it happened to me. Mm-hmm. The first time was by people I knew, and the second time was by people I don't know. So it was kind of weird. How do you call that into existence, right? And I was married to a very abusive husband, both mentally, physically, and you can name it.
Did you get married to escape your reality? Kind of like,
I got married because the first person that loved me or said I love you was a big deal.
Okay, I got you.
Right? I was chasing boyfriends kind of a thing. I was heavy. I was very heavy. And the first person that said, "Oh yeah, I love you,"
I'll get married. Yeah,
I'll marry you. I'll come to Canada.
Okay,
he was from Israel, so it was big wedding, the whole shebang. Everybody was happy that I was getting married. I was very happy to get married because hey, I'm 22 years old and I don't know any better.
Yeah.
So and then because of the rapes and my husband as well, I had 4 abortions. So my body has taken like a real hit. 4 abortions. And
you didn't talk about that in the book.
Wow.
Yeah,
I didn't talk about it because at no point was there any thing that I could say that would not even incur maybe some people would say, well, you weren't supposed to, you killed a baby. Many people are against abortion. I'm not against or for it. I just did what was good for me. That's all.
I think if you're gang raped, you get to choose. Yeah. I really think no one should judge you for anything. So let's
I get that. Yeah. So that's my story. I gained a morbid amount of weight. I was eating. I was very successful in business.
Right. Because you're smart as a whip.
And I was studying. I have an MBA, a law degree, a certification. There's so many things that I've done to not think about it, not deal with it, Right. And food was my help,
Right. You threw yourself into achievement.
Right. And being successful at business, and that's it. And I would eat my way. Mm-hmm. That was when I would come home. It was 2 Big Macs, 2 French fries, 1 large Coke, and
because you had to keep it stuffed down.
Right.
You know what's interesting, and again, I've worked with a lot of morbidly obese women with whom I've worked. There was molestation, rape, things like that. Yeah. And then you're not unaware. You know what you were doing. You were like,
totally.
Okay, if you're going to rape me, I'm just going to put on 100 more pounds, and then maybe no one else will. And then okay, if you're going to rape me, I'm going to put on 100 more pounds, and then
Or if I eat and I become so obese, you're not going to be able to hurt me, or you're not going to be able to judge me. You'll judge me for something else. You won't judge me for the rape. You won't judge me for something else. You'll judge me for my obesity. And oh boy, was I, in Florida, by the way, they treat you badly when you're fat. So, in stores, you get the bad look. You look, they think that you're sick. They think that you're dirty. They really treat you bad in stores. That's a reality.
In Florida?
That's where I was living, in Florida.
Okay.
This was all a revelation to me because I was not treated like that all the time. But in Florida, it was a big awakening. And that's when
Maybe it's because in Florida you wear less clothing.
You wear less clothing, but it's a lot of plastic and a lot of, it's all about who you
you were in Miami.
How you look.
Yeah, you were in Miami. Okay.
Fort Lauderdale, Boca Raton, you go and everybody has the BMW and the figure and the clothing and image is big. So it was.
Yeah, you're saying like Miami versus LA. LA is
same thing, I would say.
Yeah.
So, I felt for people. I really do. And I still do feel for people that are judging that way. I don't think that because you're obese, you're dirty or sick. You're just obese.
Well, I've worked with obese people for 3 decades. Everybody's got something. Every single person. So their something just happens to be more obvious. Do you understand?
Yeah, totally.
Like that a food addict is not that different from someone who chain smokes or a drug addict. It's just the poor food addict, their thing is more obvious. It shows more. You know what I mean? So we can't judge each other. That's not going to help anybody.
I don't.
Yeah.
And so when I'm asked, this is what I say.
So you overcame this trauma and what was and you in the book, you don't say, so I went to a psychotherapist for 20 years. You did this all by yourself. You turned this ship around. This is another reason why I give you credit. Seriously. You just turned it around by yourself. Can tell us about that? Because where did you find that? Where did you find that inside of yourself?
Just like everybody else, I went to motivational speakers and stuff like that. Tony Robbins, I was a groupie.
You did that?
I did go to those motivational speeches, but I was becoming just addicted to it. I was just like another addiction. I did not do much. I did a little bit, just like everybody else. I did a little bit and went back to my old self. Okay. And then a little bit, and I went back to my old self. And one day, I was in San Diego at a Tony Robbins event. And then 10 days later, I was in Paris at a Tony Robbins event.
Well, okay, hold up. Yeah. Okay, have you ever met him? I love him.
I did. I met him in person just once.
Yeah, okay.
In Canada.
I've never been to a Tony Robbins event. I've never been to a seminar. I don't read self-help books. I don't do any of it. I read The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale because I thought everybody does. But I love Tony Robbins, but I admire that you've been to his events because I think he's great. But
I was a groupie. I actually traveled the world following him around. Yeah. I'm actually friends with his son. So so what happened was that I meet people, great people at each event.
Yeah.
And at San Diego I met a few people, and then I went to Paris and I met the same people. So when I walked into the auditorium, I looked around and I'm thinking, I just
saw you guys.
Yeah, what the heck are they doing here? I was thinking to myself, what the heck are they doing here? And the second thought was, what the heck are you doing here? Didn't you get all this already? And that's when I started. That's when I'm like, I'm learning so much and I'm not applying it.
Now I get the premise of the book. Oh my God. Okay, I just figured it out.
There's more to it. But
no, I just figured it out. No, but the thing is you became, I've had clients like this. You became an information junkie. Like, okay, I've had clients who know more about nutrition and exercise than I do because they have time to sit. They just have time to sit around and read, whereas I'm out like I'm trying to work and I'm at the gym. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, but the difference between them and me is they don't do anything with it.
Right.
They just know it.
Right.
You became, I get it now.
And I thought something was missing from all of these seminars. All of this, something was missing from everything.
Okay. What is that, my darling?
It was something in the brain. And I knew it. I knew something was happening. I just didn't know how to call it. And so I had to create it. I went and studied the brain, and I went to study what exactly is it that we need to understand about the way that we are wired.
Okay.
And that's why the book is where it is.
Which leads me to my next question. Chad, are you still paying attention?
Of course, I'm here.
Okay. Do you like this so far? This is interesting, right?
I like Orly.
Isn't she pretty?
Before, yes.
Yeah, she's so pretty.
I know, yes.
Everybody on my Facebook page said she was pretty. They thought she was me.
Oh, that's so
And I
cute.
almost didn't tell them that she wasn't.
It's okay. Take the credit.
I almost didn't say anything, but then I said
we do have certain features that we might.
My father's Cuban, and my father's Cuban Lebanese, and my mother's Sicilian. What are you?
My father's Moroccan. My mother's Egyptian. I'm born in Israel. Grew up in Montreal, Canada.
I was made in Israel. Does that count?
Wait a second. Not to bust the flow of the interview. Amor is Espanol for love. Where does I think you're like Dominican.
My ancestors in Morocco were Spanish. There was a Spanish colony. I researched my name. I am Spanish in blood.
Okay.
But
Okay, so you're Moroccan and wait, say it again.
Egyptian. Moroccan Egyptian.
I thought you were like a nice Dominican girl from the hood.
Everybody thinks that because of my last name.
I thought she was like a nice
Dominican. But I do speak
Dominican.
Spanish, so people speak to me and I answer back and they're like, think I'm Latina. I'm all good about that. I want to be Latina. I don't care.
You should be. I thought you were like a nice Dominican girl from Brooklyn.
You should see me dance salsa. I mean, then they really think I am Latina.
Okay, so Amor, so you have Spanish blood in your veins.
Absolutely.
Okay, so now I like you. All right, so listen.
Oh, now she likes me.
So you say
You're too cute.
that. Okay, so you say that what's different about the 12 powers that we hold within is that it helps us understand how our minds are programmed, but so explain how our minds are programmed, because this part of the book can be potentially scary, especially when you say certain things about how parts of what is inside of us are kind of permanent. That part scared me.
I know.
So explain that, please.
Okay, so you want me to jump? Okay, so first let's talk about the fact that this starts at your early age, right? Like really early in your life.
And some scientists say in utero.
Yes, but let's not go there. Let's go to consciousness. Let's go when you're starting to talk and walk. Your parents tell you, don't talk to strangers. I'm going to take only one example right now. So whenever we started
2 years old. Let's take a 2-year-old little boy. Yeah.
Do we say don't talk to strangers to a 2-year-old boy?
Yeah, I have a nephew.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Don't talk to strangers, right? Yet, when we get on with our lives and we get into business or we get into work, the thing that we need to do is what? Network. And guess what? Talk to strangers. Our brain now goes into what? Like a question mark, and we get stopped. That's why a lot of people don't like to do sales, but they need to do sales all day long because they need to sell themselves. Even if they're not selling a product, they're selling themselves, but they don't like it because somebody said, don't talk to strangers.
Can I tell you an example of what you're saying?
Yeah, sure, totally.
An example of what you're saying. I think this is fascinating. One of my girlfriends is a realtor here in New York City.
Awesome.
Anybody who lives in New York knows that to be a kick-ass realtor in New York City, you've got to promote yourself.
Totally.
How many times do I go to my mailbox and there's like a little thing saying, with a picture and it says, I just sold these properties. All right, my girlfriend... she's older than I am. She was always taught that it's not ladylike and it's not good to promote yourself. That's unbecoming. She had to get out of. She couldn't really stay in real estate because she wasn't doing well. She was great in the actual doing of it, but she just didn't have it in her to promote herself. It didn't resonate with her. She had to get out of it because she was taught, It's not becoming to promote yourself. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's an
imagine
example.
those narrow pathways that were made with just that one thought that she multiplied through the years.
Yeah.
And that's obviously what stopped her. And now it's affecting her.
She had to get out of it. She had to get out. Yeah.
So point is made for that, and why the 12 powers is so important. Now, just another note is that the brain does not know the difference. We need to agree on that. It doesn't know the difference between a truth and a lie, wrong or right, and good or bad.
Okay, the brain does not know a difference between a truth and a lie, wrong or right, good or bad. It just knows what is.
Well, actually, we can actually prove that also there's no good and bad in the world. There's no good and bad, and there's no right or wrong. And people are, as soon as I say this, people go, okay, Orly, until now you had me, but what are you talking about? There's bad, there's good, there's wrong, there's right.
There's evil.
Right, absolutely. Except that, I'm going to prove it by saying that if something is wrong for me, it might be right for you.
Right.
And the opposite, something that's good for you might be bad for me. So how do we prove which one of us is right?
And that's a person, a situation, a job. Because exactly.
Anything. That's why I can date a certain person and you might not like that person.
Right.
So which one of us is right? Both of us. Because it applies to you.
Right.
And that's the decision people make. It's not the brain that says that. You say it to yourself.
Right. So what is we color it. There was this cool story. I don't know if you've ever heard this story. I don't even know. I don't know that. I wish I thought about things before I got on this show, but this is just coming to me.
Cool.
So a guy. Wait. Okay. So a guy. Oh, I'll tell you a story. This is my own story. This is Chad. Perk your ears. This is an unbelievable story. I used to be a flight attendant. I had no idea. Did you know that?
Wow. I didn't know that.
So when I was 23 years old, I was a flight attendant. I was living in Atlanta, Georgia. I was a flight attendant for a charter airline. Charter airlines are smaller airlines. There were only two aircrafts, and there were two aircrafts. So you were either working on Tango, working on X-ray, or you were off. Okay. So one of the senior girls, I was 23 years old, one of the senior girls, we were supposed to go on a trip. She was supposed to go on a trip, and she came down with this miserable flu, one of those flus where you're in bed for 9 days. She was so pissed off because she had to miss a trip. And at the time, it was a horrible thing because she's in bed for 9 days and she misses a trip. Now, here's where the story takes a turn. Pay attention. The plane is out in Europe. It's in Europe. As it's coming back toward the United States, going over the Pyrenees Mountains in Portugal, there was a miscommunication between the ground and the plane. The plane crashed into the Pyrenees, the Pyrenees Mountains. Everybody on the aircraft was killed. It was like 143 people.
Oh my God!
So the horrifying part is I ended up going to 7 funerals because there were 4. There was a captain, a co-captain, and a flight engineer, and there were 4 flight attendants. The moral of the story is, the girl, her name was Shan, the girl who got the horrible flu that kept her in bed for 9 days, she was supposed to be on that flight. At the time when we were talking and she was like, I got this flu, and she was so angry because she wasn't on the flight.
Right.
Fast forward, she wasn't so angry anymore. So a flu that was a bad thing turned into something that was a good thing that actually saved her life, while, God rest their souls, 143 other passengers and crew members died. Chad, that's a true story.
I believe it. Yeah, I think that's horrible, and you hear stories about that all the time.
So
the thing that made you sick saves your life.
This was I wouldn't call. She was a professional friend of mine. She was
a colleague.
She was supposed to be on the flight, and she had to cancel her trip and send somebody else. Which is a whole other show. But so that flu that was such a bad thing that kept her so sick for 9 days that made her cancel the trip saved her life. That is what you're saying applied. That is, good, bad.
Yeah, exactly. It depends how you look at it, right? I mean, it's bad in one way, it's good in another. And But you need to know that. But the brain does not know the difference. So it's like,
It's what you tell yourself about it.
Exactly. So what are you telling yourself? Is that, cake is good for you? Then you'll eat it.
Uh-huh.
But if you said to yourself that cake is bad for you until you lose the weight, then you can have some cake. If you tell yourself different things, you might be able to accomplish the goals.
And also talk about how we're programmed. We're programmed from very young.
Yes.
You talk about that in the book. We're programmed with things we see, things we're told. But you say that we're programmed. In the book, you say that a lot of that we're kind of stuck with. But are we really, in other words, because I shudder at some of the things that I was programmed with. I mean, I've consciously overridden a lot. Do you understand? As we become adults,
sure,
and tell me if this is normal, as we become adults and you're no longer under the thumb of your parents and the people who raised you, you start to go, wait a second. That doesn't make any sense to me. That's not so
that's the good and bad part also.
But what I'm saying is can we overcome that programming?
Whatever is in your brain right now, it'll stay there forever. It will not, it's not about deprogramming. It's not about reprogramming yourself. It's about changing what you're already programming with. So I'll give you a good saying is that the program, if your brain is like a computer,
okay.
What happens to a computer when it's overloaded?
It crashes.
Shuts down.
It
shuts down.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you've been on shutdown. For people who are struggling, they've been on shutdown because they're overwhelmed. What happens is that the programs that have been put in that computer have been put there by people you no longer know and no longer care about.
Right.
What about the programs that you're putting in now with the people that you are around with? There's more programming. So now you have to be careful of what you let in.
Okay.
From a thought. So if you tell me, Orly, look, seriously, you need to lose weight. Let's say you said that to me.
How rude. Okay.
But let's say you did. I'll have a friend who did tell me that.
That doesn't sound, yeah.
I had a couple of friends who told me, Orly, your feet look like football. No, not now, but then. Okay,
how rude.
Yeah, and I was hurt. I was definitely hurt. But I did not let that determine my focus or what I wanted to do. So you cannot reprogram this. The thought already existed. She already hurt my feelings. That got anchored. There's nothing we could do about it. Hence, we have a memory. Sometimes we remember things right away, and sometimes they come back to us. How many times have you tried to remember the name of an actor or a song or something like that? It just didn't come to you, and then you went to sleep, and 2 o'clock in the morning came in, and you're like, oh my God, I remember the song.
Because it's in your brain.
It's still there. It will always be there. Always. It doesn't go away. It doesn't get erased unless you have Alzheimer's, amnesia, or anything like that. But other than, let's not talk about clinical.
Yeah.
But everything is still there.
But so my question is, all right, so a lot of the programming that most of us get, many of us get early in life, like I know that I had to do this for myself. A lot of the programming, I had to, as an adult, I had to rethink it and say, wait a second, I don't believe that. So what I'm saying is if it never goes anywhere, how do we keep it from holding us back? Do you understand? In other words, because what about my girlfriend?
It depends what feeling it created.
Okay.
So you got to have the thought and decided it's not good for you. So you actually rejected it. It became just knowledge. It didn't become a thought that created a feeling, because the thought created the feeling, not the other way around.
Okay. Feelings. Okay.
Right? The thought creates the feeling. It's not the feeling. You don't have a feeling just to have. It doesn't come from something. It has to come from a thought.
Okay.
So the thought created the feeling, which created the anchor.
Okay.
So if that thought said, oh, you know what? No, this is not good for me. I'm throwing it in the garbage. It's still a thought that you will have in memory, but it won't anchor, meaning it won't affect you.
Okay. I have a question.
Yeah.
Then how come so many people are stuck in their thoughts miserable. And feelings, and some of us are able to go, well, screw that. I'm not going to, do you understand my question?
Totally.
Because I see people who are very, 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 very stuck. I mean, in things that, I've worked with people who are in their 50s, who are morbidly obese, who are, my mom, I'm obese because of my mama, because she told me, okay, well, mama's dead. And now we have to come up with another reason. Do you know what I mean? We've got to now we've got to turn that page. It's how come some people are able to reject certain programming and say, no, I'm not doing this.
They're not rejecting. Okay, so let's talk about the brain a little bit. There's something called the amygdala, which is the reptilian brain. When people who know about the brain a little bit, they know about the reptilian brain, and it's called the amygdala. Basically, what it does is that it keeps your survival. That's what it's there to do. Have you ever driven home and got there and you didn't know how you got there by driving?
Most days of my life, yes. No.
So that's basically your amygdala keeping you safe and sound because you've been doing it so many times. It's already knowing that that's a safe route to get to your house. So you don't have to think about it. You can drive there.
Isn't the amygdala the emotional center? Yes? No?
No, it's just the part that keeps your survival.
Okay, got it.
Think about all your survival organs. It keeps it going. Now, the amygdala also only knows things that have been repeated to you, meaning it's safe. So you've been going home the same route. So you've been saying the same things to yourself. So you've been also miserable for so long. You've been miserable at your job or with your friend or with your boyfriend, your husband,
with their body.
Whatever, body. Anything that you have been saying to yourself, the amygdala is there. Oh, yeah, we know that. That's familiar. There's nothing wrong with this. It's normal. There's no normal, but that's normal for the amygdala,
that's
right?
Normal for us.
And then all of a sudden you say, no, listen, we need to be happy. I want to change things, and the amygdala goes into panic attack. What do you mean?
Okay.
Right? My friend, I have to give this flag. My friend Cynthia Grillwald tells a story about us being cavemen. If you think about it, and I'm going to have to give her the credit because she tells that so well. In the caveman age, you had to be home by sundown or else you'll be eaten by the animals that are lurking around. So you knew there's one way to get home safely by sundown. And that's the route you used to take. But let's say all of a sudden you think, oh my God, I'm going to be late getting home. I am going to choose another route that's faster. Mm-hmm. Your amygdala is going to say, what? Are you crazy? We don't know that right. I cannot even guarantee your safety.
That's why we resist change.
That's right.
That's why we resist
change. We
change.
resist it because the amygdala is in panic mode.
Okay, so let me get this straight, just to put it in plain terms. This is why people who are in situations where they're stuck and they're miserable aren't moved to change. Because, because they're miserable, but at least it's misery they know. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. It's misery they know versus the unknown. Oh my God.
And if I've never been happy, what happens then? I don't know how to get happy. I don't know what happy feels like.
Okay.
The amygdala,
so
same thing.
It's all the unknown. That's why they're stuck, is because they're a fear of the unknown.
Totally fear of the unknown. They also have this.
It's got to be subconscious, though. Because,
it is.
Okay,
of course, it is.
Yeah,
because that's the way they've been trained. If all their life they were scared of taking chances, scared of moving to a new job because, oh my God, I need my security. I need my paycheck.
Or leaving a marriage.
Right. Yeah. Oh my God. And what about the kids? How many people stay in a bad marriage just for the kids?
Yeah.
Totally. They take that responsibility for no reason. Literally, because the kids still grow up to be good.
I know people, more women than men, who stay in a bad relationship because they figure maybe there's nobody else.
Right. How many things like that did they say to themselves?
Oh, my God.
So the amygdala says, oh, you know what? I don't know how it's going to be with another person, so why don't you just stay here?
So that's why they resist change. See,
and then they say misery likes company. That is such a cliche. It is such a cliche.
Well, you know what I've noticed? Misery likes company in the sense that I've noticed that miserable people tend to congregate.
Yeah, because they like each other's stories.
They miserable people congregate.
Oh, I'm not alone.
Yeah, they congregate.
I'm not alone of the same.
So you said at the top of the show that we have over 70,000 thoughts a day. Is that really 70,000 thoughts a day?
A day.
Chad, do you have Chad doesn't have 70,000 thoughts a day.
All of us do.
Chad,
what?
Of your Chad, Orly says we have 70,000 thoughts every day.
No, this is clinically proven.
Okay.
I did not say that.
How many of those thoughts are about
Wait. Are they different thoughts? Because
No, I want to know how many of those thoughts are about me, Chad. How much time and energy do you give me in this show?
When you're here, on days I'm working with you, probably half my day is concerned and thinking about you.
Aww.
Yes. But when you're not here,
nothing?
I'm kidding.
No, seriously, but
of course I think about you.
I email you every day.
You email me. Oh, I'm sorry, Orly. We're going to make this about us for a moment.
I love it.
You email me like at 3 o'clock. You email me every morning.
I know.
Like 3. No, I like it. I wake up. I have these little love letters from you.
No, but all right. So you will admit
yes,
on Facebook
Live
that of the 70,000 thoughts, 35,000 are of me.
34,910.
Done. Oh, I love Chad.
But
Chad, I should
only because I'm going to then give me another, because I have to make my kids my priority.
Yeah. I love Chad. I should have bought you something for your birthday. Sorry about that.
It's okay. And
now you put it out there, you'll have to get him something.
I'm gonna take you out for coffee or something, Chad.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
So you say, Orly, that we have 70,000 thoughts every day, and you say, okay, so this is where it makes me nervous. Mm-hmm. We can control our conscious thoughts. Okay, so the conscious thoughts, the thoughts I'm choosing to, I'll sit up straight. Right. I'm here with Orly. I'm enjoying myself, which happen in the brain's frontal cortex, the front part of the brain.
Correct.
But you say that most of our thoughts are subconscious and that emotions are seated in the subconscious mind. So this is important to know because why? Because I've always been taught by other experts I've interviewed that really the subconscious mind is running the show.
That's right. Correct. 97%.
Okay, that sucks.
I know.
Let me explain why that's but here's why that sucks. Because people with their conscious brain will say, I realize that I'm unhealthy and I'm smoking 2 packs a day and I've got type 2 diabetes and I know intellectually that this is not good for me. But the subconscious mind and those behaviors are driving them to stay. I mean, like, how do we overcome this if the subconscious mind is running the show and it's not within our control? How do we get the conscious mind to supersede the subconscious mind and take over?
So what's happening with your subconscious?
Does that make sense?
Yes,
yeah,
totally.
Okay,
I get that. So the subconscious mind, if we say that if 100% of your thoughts, only 3%, 2 to 5% actually you control in their frontal cortex. So 95% is running the show. Now think about everything.
95% being the subconscious mind.
Correct.
Okay.
If you think about, I call them tapes, but if you think about every event, circumstance in your life, any event, you think about it. You started a new job, you got a new boyfriend, he broke up with you, whatever event happened, circumstance in your life, any bad thinking that you had with yourself, any bad thoughts, that were given to you or whatever people say to you, all that is registered in your subconscious. Now that's a tape that's running constantly. It's like a recorder, like in the old days.
So everything that's happened to us
it's it's a constant playing record. Totally constantly playing. It's like a CD that won't stop.
Okay.
Now, it's playing at different times.
In the background.
But it's playing whatever song it feels like, kind of a thing, where you do not control that. That happens as it happens. And that's why sometimes you feel amazing, and then all of a sudden 10 o'clock comes around and you feel crappy, but you don't even know why, because you didn't think anything bad. But your subconscious mind was already there. Mm-hmm. So we'll talk about that a little bit. Mm-hmm. But that's really what's running the show. Your subconscious mind is full of those tapes, and those tapes are running constantly.
Okay.
Now, if you want to, you can't change those tapes. Remember, we said you cannot erase, delete, or destroy. Yeah. So what happens is that you need to create new ones.
Okay.
That's the only way.
With the conscious mind.
With a conscious mind. So it becomes subconscious. What you need to do is to create a new tape. No, this is not good for me. And for me to be happy, I need to do blank.
Okay, so let me understand this. All right, because, for example, I know people who, with their heart, with their mind, with everything about them, they want something. Mm-hmm. But because of fears that have been instilled in them in childhood, they sabotage right when they're about to get it. Makes sense, right? Like so self-sabotage is all about the subconscious mind. Because self-sabotage, we are sabotaging ourselves as we are at the precipice of doing something that otherwise would be great. Okay, so here's my question. So you're saying that what I'm hearing you say is, first, the person has to recognize that this is happening. The person has to say, okay, I see, connect, and acknowledge that I am sabotaging my weight loss here. Let's just pick one. I'm sabotaging my weight loss here because of this fear I have about being small, born out of my early years. Mm-hmm. You've got to recognize that. And then you've got to create a thought in your conscious mind, and just, you're saying if you repeat it enough.
That's right, to create the new tape. So you need to repeat it enough so it becomes more overpowering the other thought that created the negative of that. So let's say...
Okay, but it starts with the awareness,
Absolutely.
No? Okay, so let's just use you as an example. For example, so you were at 428 pounds, very dangerous, and you knew that. You weren't stupid, you knew that.
Absolutely.
Okay, but something about having the extra weight on your body was comforting to you.
Yeah.
And that came out of your subconscious mind from trauma in the past.
Sure.
Okay, so... I've had clients before. I had a client once he was nearly 600 pounds, 585 to be exact. Whenever he would work with me, we would very quickly, within 3 months, he would drop 85 pounds. You'd think he'd be excited. He would start to get scared because he started to shed weight, and he would stop working with me.
Here's what happened to him. I can tell you exactly what happened.
He was terrified of losing weight.
It's not the terrifying of losing the weight. Mm-hmm. He was losing the weight, yes, physically, but his mind did not change the image of him. So his image of himself was not changing. That's what the scary part was.
Well, what was scary for him, I'll tell you what was scary for him. What was scary for him, and this is like a whole other show. So
fine.
What was scary for him was that he's gay, and he didn't want to be gay. And if he kept himself up at 600 pounds, he was sexually irrelevant. So he didn't date men, he didn't date women, he didn't date anybody.
Right.
But he was a really handsome guy. And so, with 85 pounds off in a couple months, gosh, by next month, it's going to be 170 pounds off. Then I'm going to start looking kind of cute. And then people are going to start to want, you know what I'm saying? He had a fear of success.
Fear of success and of failure is the same.
Right. But what I'm saying is all of that was in his subconscious mind. As much as he wanted with his mouth, he wanted to lose weight, he wanted his life back, his subconscious brain was keeping him from pushing past.
No, it was his amygdala. Amygdala has never been skinny. That's the thing with him. It doesn't know the difference. It just doesn't. So for him, the comfort, the knowing, the safety
it was comfortable. It was horrible,
was
but
600.
comfortable. Yeah.
That's where he was comfortable, knowing, safe.
Yeah.
Now you're taking him onto an unsafe zone, which is amygdala is unsafe. Why? It's like, oh my God, we've never been 400 pounds. We've never been 300 pounds. We don't know what that feels like, so I can't guarantee your safety.
So how do the people watching, how do they break past that, whether it's weight or a job or leaving a marriage, or how do people break past that urge to self-sabotage? What is it? Is it catching yourself
Catching yourself saying whatever it is that you're saying to yourself. Because what you're saying to yourself is like, oh my God, if I lose the weight, am I still going to be able to date? Am I still going to be able to wear clothes? Am I still going to, am I still, whatever it is that you're saying
if I lose my husband, am I going to be okay?
Right.
Okay.
So think about that. Is that what you're thinking? Because if that's what you're thinking, you need to change that immediately. That's what you need to change, because it's not the truth. There is no proof.
Right, because it hadn't happened yet. Right.
There is no proof. So ask yourself the question, where is the proof of whatever it is that you're thinking? Where is the proof?
Okay, so on the precipice of self-sabotage, or can we say inaction?
Inaction.
Because you were the person, you were the Tony Robbins junkie who you had all the knowledge, you just weren't doing anything.
Right.
You have to sit down with yourself and say, wait a second.
Right.
What is going on here?
Right.
What are we doing?
Right. And I knew that, and my thought that changed that for me as far as weight was, look, in your family, diabetes is a hereditary, and cholesterol is hereditary.
And you were,
And I was not diabetic. So listen, either you're going to die of diabetes or a heart attack before you're 40 years old.
Yeah, yep.
So I decided that that's not going to happen.
Yeah. And so you had gastric bypass surgery.
Yes, I did. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was very brave.
Yes, and at the time I was doing it, it was the most dangerous thing you can do to your body. 2 out of 5 people were dying on the table.
Well, and it was back.
Or
we should
3,
say,
yeah,
we should say it was in 2005.
Yes, it was 2005. So it was like kind of the beginning of people knowing about it more and that kind of thing. Yeah,
right.
People were still dying on the tables there.
Right. So so basically, the way and in your book you refer to it as the negative ball and the positive ball.
Yes.
Basically, again, the concept, what we want to leave people with is nothing can be erased or deleted.
Right.
But what you have to do is you have to bring an awareness to yourself about your subconscious mind. Mm-hmm. And with that awareness, you can then program new thoughts with your conscious mind.
Right.
repeat them enough, program them enough,
or catch yourself enough.
Yeah, program the good enough that they start to override the old stuff. So it all goes back to self-awareness then.
Totally. But the fact that, the negative ball is the size that it is, however, how old you are.
The negative ball being the ball of negative stuff.
Yes, which is ugly and angry, and just when you don't feed it, it gets angry.
Yeah.
But I make it scary because I want you to be scared.
Yeah.
I want you to have the feeling of fear from that negative ball because it's controlling you. You're like a puppet. Mm-hmm. So what you
your
want...
subconscious mind controls.
Yeah, absolutely. So the issue with that, or the challenge with that, is that it won't shrink. So you need to build the positive ball, who is very, very tiny, and you feed it very seldom. You need to feed him so that he grows in big enough so that he can kick the other guy out.
Okay.
Like they have a fight in your subconscious. They're having a fight right now.
Well, there's only so much room in your head, is what you're saying, and so it's like you've got to edge out.
There's room.
You've got to edge out. You've got to edge out the negative with positive.
You just have to if you can imagine a humongous ball, okay, because that's your life, that has been fed constantly with negative thoughts and blah, blah, blah. And then you imagine the little positive ball because you only fed it a few times where you felt awesome. Mm-hmm. He wants to be fed. The other one is feeding every time you're negative. So the only question is, what am I supposed to do with the negative one? And the first thing you need to do is just stop it from growing.
Okay, stop it from growing. Stop feeding it.
So when you're having the thought and you're saying awareness,
okay,
it's an interruption. Perfect. Interrupt that, change it with something positive, feed your positive ball so he can gain strength.
Okay, and so what if, because I had this client, my client, not to utilize him for the whole show, but he was
poor guy.
I feel so sorry for him. His quality of life was just horrible. I did everything I could to help him, but if you don't hire me, I can't. Like we would get success, and then he would just quit. So one of the things we talked about, the concept of self-image, and his self-image was just, as you might imagine, having been 428 pounds, his self-image was very poor because of his physical body. Mm-hmm. And I talked to him about the difference between self-esteem, self-image and body image, meaning, your body image may be poor because you have lymphedema in both legs, you can barely walk, you're 600 pounds, you don't feel good about yourself, but that's your body image. But your self-image is, you're a kind man, you're a smart man. You're very talented. Look at your home. You know how to decorate. My house has Kmart patio furniture in it. Seriously, look, let's look at all these things. It was almost like his self-image was so low because of the way he looked. He couldn't even hear me say, you're a kind man. You're a smart man. You're a talented man. Mm-hmm. And he said, I hear you saying the words, but I don't feel it. I don't even believe it. What about people who are starting that low? People who are watching who go, I can say the words, Orly, but I don't believe it,
Right. Well, remember that the brain doesn't know the difference between the truth and a lie. So if you keep repeating just those words to yourself, at one point, your brain is going to believe, yeah, you're right, we're in.
Even if they don't feel it.
That's right. They don't need to feel it. Just repeat it. Just do it every day. Just interrupt the negative ball. Just interrupt it. Change it with something. Just do it constantly. We're going to talk about consistency, but that is something that is so important with everything we do.
So the fact that somebody would say to you, Orly, I feel terrible about myself. I feel terrible about my life. I can say these positive things. I don't feel them. They don't mean anything. You'd say, you're going to eventually feel them. Mm-hmm. Right now, they may just be like words on a script.
Right. Exactly. They are. Okay. They are words on a script because you've never said that to yourself before.
Got it. Okay.
So your amygdala is fighting, which is basically your negative ball too. They're fighting each other. It's amazing. They're always fighting.
What time is it?
Are we good?
Yeah, no? I want to get into the 12 powers, at least some of the
Whenever
12 powers.
Okay. We've been more than an hour already. Wow. Yeah, time flies when you're having
63
fun.
minutes. Well, it's because of Chad distracting me with telling me how much he thinks about me.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, yeah, I'm very distracting. I'm sorry.
No, she said, we've already been going for 63 minutes. I said, it's because you distracted me by bursting into the show to talk about how much you think about me.
Well, I mean, I figured this was the perfect time and 63 minutes into the show to declare my devotion.
I love Chad.
Okay, back to you.
Okay, so the 12 powers we hold within. Mm-hmm. The 12 powers we hold within. These are 12 powers you say we all have available to us.
It's in us.
It's in us. It's already there.
Yep.
Which is great because
Totally.
you don't have to purchase anything new.
There you go.
All the parts are there. So let's quickly run through some of these. You say the power to get back up. I love getting back up. I always feel like what's the Chinese proverb? Get smacked around 8 times, get up
10, right? Yeah.
Get knocked down 7 times, get up 8.
That's
I love
right.
a good comeback story.
Absolutely.
So the power to get back up.
Right. Well, people just think that, oh, you know what? I don't have it in me. If I'm going to be devastated if he leaves me, or I'm going to be, the end of the world, basically. It's so much drama, right? I mean, we call it drama, but it's really not. It's just that we amplify what really is.
Right.
So if we do that, if you got your heart broken once, we all have. At least once.
President of the fan club. I'm the president. Yeah.
How many times did you get out of that situation?
Quite quickly, yeah.
Whether you did it quickly and other people take more time, they've still gotten out, and it didn't kill them.
No.
It did not. So if you can think about, okay, am I going to let this put me down, or am I going to just stand back up, put my head up high? Yes, I don't believe it yet.
Yeah.
But I'm going to still stand straight, and I'm going to take my life back into my own hands. It's going to take time. I'm going to cry over it. I'm going to mourn it. It's going to take its course, but I'm going to be fine. I'll be good.
Yeah.
It's all happening. So our power to do this, we've done it all our life.
Exactly. Well, you
We've
think
done
of
it about little different things.
Yeah,
you got fired. I got fired.
Do you have nieces and nephews?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so it's like when you look at like a little beautiful baby who's just learning to walk.
Mm-hmm.
What would we do? What would the world become if little babies gave up? My little niece, the littlest one. When she was learning to walk, that child had bruises because they walk around and they fall.
Right.
But she just kept getting back up. God bless her little heart. She
Right.
just kept getting back up.
Right.
We could stand to learn a lot from little babies because they just get up.
Right.
They don't even think about shouldn't I? Oh,
right.
I'm
Am I going to fall
tired.
again?
Yeah.
Am I going to fall again?
No.
Is it going to hurt?
No,
Right?
I mean the child was bruised from head to toe but from the tile floors. But what I'm saying is get up. Just get up.
And Tony Robbins also says that. Basically, he says, if I told you that your baby will not walk, what would you say to me? Of course, you're going to tell me, are you kidding me? He's going to fall a few times. He's going to walk. My baby's definitely going to walk.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing about everything else in your life.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. It's going to come. You're going to come over it, and you're going to get back up.
A to the men.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. The power we hold within, number 2, the power of attitude. You say that in every situation we have to ask ourselves, what's great about this? What can I learn from this?
Right.
In every situation, that means everyone.
Right, and everything. So many people, when I talk about the power of, the attitude part, people say to me, oh, really, Orly? When you got gang raped, what is it that you learned from that?
I think you learned quite a lot.
Right. I can definitely go through that list, but you know that formula of attitude, 10% is what happens to you, 90% is how you react to it? Well, then have an attitude about it.
Right.
You know what? It did not kill me.
Thank God.
It did not kill me. I could have died. The 2 doctors that I saw told me that I could have died from hypothermia. I was in an alley for 3 days in the cold, no water, no food. How do you even survive? You're not able to survive more than 2 days without water. How did I make it to day 3? And crawled out of the alley and got into a cab and get to the hospital by myself, cleaned myself up. I mean, all that. Of course, I felt pain. I mean, I was bruised from head to toe. But at the end of the day, what does that teach me? What is that teaching me? That I'm stronger than I can be? That I have strength in me?
Yeah, you can survive anything.
That I can survive anything. Isn't that a really good attitude to have about it instead of saying, "Oh, woe is me"? Yes.
Oh yeah, that's what
I was like, "Oh my God."
But I really believe, and I said this to you before we went on the air. I really think you don't give yourself enough credit. I think you saved your own life. I really do. I mean, you really saved your own life. And what we do for ourselves, then we turn around and we give to someone else. That's why you're saving other people's lives, because you saved your own life. Mm-hmm. So, I mean,
Agreed.
Yeah. So again, her attitude is, what can I learn from this? What's great about this? And again, she says, you have to say that about everything. You can't pick and choose.
Right.
You can't wait till the guy asks you out and go, oh, what's great about this? You've got to say that about everything in your life.
Totally.
I actually did that. I hadn't even read the book yet, but I try to apply a lot of this stuff to my life, just generally speaking. I just went through a hard time. I think I told you I had to let someone go, fire someone. And she caused me so much grief that the only thing I could come up that was good about was thank you, God, that she caused me so much grief, because it pushed me to say, I've got to just let you go.
Right.
In other words, if she had just caused me a little bit of grief,
right.
I would have kept her.
Right.
But she was so horrible. She caused me so much grief. I had to just say, it's been very lovely working with you, but we're just not a match.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So
Totally.
that was the only thing I could think of that was positive.
Well, there's something even more positive than that. Is now you're also opening up room for a person that's going to be a good fit for you.
Correct.
So if we think about it, there is really a positive to every situation.
And you have to pick it.
Totally.
All right. So power number 3, the power of self-talk. You say that faith and fear cannot hold the same space. This is basic physics.
Yes.
So why is this powerful to understand? Because
yes. So many people believe either in the God concept or universe concept, angels, whatever it is that you believe in, Buddha, Judaism, whatever. It doesn't matter. God concept, I call it, because people say, oh my God, or they pray to God, or whatever it is. Now, if you have faith in God, then you can't have fear. You can't fear God and also have faith in him. You either fear him and you fear whatever it is that you're doing, or you have faith. So I'll give you an example. If you and I had Chad come into this room and we would tell him, Chad, have your back to us and fall backwards, and you can trust both of us that we will catch you. Now, if you trust both of us, we will catch him.
yes,
Absolutely agree with this. Yes,
You agree, Chad?
I love
Okay,
this
great.
stuff. Yes.
Now he's listening.
Now, Chad, I'm going to ask him, before you drop, you're going to feel fear.
Yep. Yeah, I'm going to fall. My butt's going to hit the ground. Absolutely.
You're going to fear that.
Yep.
But if you have faith that we're not going to drop you. You will drop and you will be saved. We'll catch you. So you cannot give us the faith and the fear, because then it will stop you. You won't fall back if you're fearing us.
Oh, so if he were in the tug of war of faith and fear, he would be paralyzed. He would be
Correct.
paralyzed.
And you won't do anything.
Right. Got it. So you just have to choose faith. You have to choose
You have
it. What are you going to do?
faith. Exactly.
What are you going to do?
Most people choose fear. So fictional elements appearing real, right? Everybody knows this. Now, maybe they don't. So let's just say it. Fictional elements, false.
Yeah.
Yes. So if that's the case, we don't have the proof. Because we don't have the proof, we need to have faith.
Yes, but fear, right. Fear, okay. Fear this goes back to what we were talking about earlier.
Sure.
Fear, it stinks, it keeps you stuck, but it's familiar. At least you're stuck in the familiar. I'm the kind of person, I just kind of cross my fingers and jump in. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm that kind of person. I kind of like fear. Maybe I need the adrenaline rush. I like things that scare me. I like
Certain
live.
things.
Yeah, I mean, like when Chad, and this is when
Like,
Chad.
I don't watch scary
When
movies.
this big blotch was on my thing,
Right.
Chad was like, "Well, what should we do? Should we try to hide it? Should we?" And I said, "It's live video. What are we going to?" I mean,
Yeah,
there's
you
a big.
said own it.
I said
Yeah.
no. Chad said, "Should we try to get you a coat, or should we get you a new shirt, or what do you want to do?"
I offered you my sweater.
Chad offered me his sweater. I said, "Thank you, no." But I said, I have a big blotch on my chest. People are going to notice it. Like, why hide it? Just tell everybody, okay, I've got a big blotch on my chest and do the show. Who's going to, but so I like fear, but I get what you're saying. You have to pick one. So just go for it.
Right. Well, because we fear certain things that we have no proof of. So we really have, we fear doing things. We fear going out there. We fear talking to somebody, a stranger. We fear, like my husband tells me, you're going in the subway in New York and you're going to meet all these crazy people. And you know how many amazing people I meet in the subway?
Me
like
too.
really cool people.
Yeah.
I love it. Like whoever smiles at me or has a conversation with me, I'll open up the conversation.
Yes.
And hey, the ride is much shorter. So I look at it in a good way.
Exactly. So the power of self-talk.
Is that I don't tell myself to be fearful of strangers. I don't do that.
I have faith that all things will work out. Yeah.
Correct. Everything always works out for me. That's one of my affirmations.
Exactly. All right. Number 4 is the power of honesty. You ask, Who or what are you blaming for the way things are in your life? Who or what? That's something that we should all think about. Yep. Meaning you, Chad.
I know.
Who or
You
what?
stare me down when you say that.
Who or what? I love Chad. Who or what are you blaming for the way things are in your life? And, my question to you is, how can we be 100% honest with ourselves so we can get past our excuses and move forward? Because one of the things, again, I have worked with people in their 50s who are saying to me that they're fat and they're morbidly obese because of their mama, blah, blah, blah. And mama's dead. Mama's gone, God rest her soul. We can't keep blaming mama.
Right. But let's even take it a step further.
Please do.
If we go backwards, when mama was in charge, when mama was to blame, when you got beaten, you were told you were fat, so you got fatter, whatever it is that your thing is, at one point you moved on from that, right? And you're saying mama's not dead, but maybe she's alive and still not around. But
mama's still whispering in their ear.
But when you were 18 or when you moved out of your parents' house, who was in control of your life? You. Mm-hmm. So be honest with that.
Yeah.
Start with that. What is the responsibility that I have? Okay, I gave that excuse. It was true at the time. Yes. I agree with you. It was true at the time. It was affecting you. Look, you can't have a positive mind in a negative environment. Period.
Right.
Right? So, okay, I got away from the negative environment. What did I do about it? Okay, if I didn't do anything about it, then maybe I should start now. No time like the present.
Right.
Right? I mean, wherever you've been, whatever you've done, be honest with yourself and then go ahead.
I just had a thought. I just had an epiphany.
Yay.
Basically, the people who don't do what you just said to do, they're finding comfort in their excuses. What's that saying? Excuses are like crutches. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'm mixing up sayings now. I don't know. Okay. It's this thing on my chest. But, I'm blaming. I'm blaming. Oh my God, I'm doing
that. You just fed the negative ball.
I love it.
Oh my gosh.
I'm so negative. All right. So, no, people who don't do what you just said to do, which is to go, okay, look, I'm going to be honest with myself here. Mm-hmm. I'm in my 50s, and it's time for me to stop blaming mama for all my problems, given that I moved out of her house when I was 21.
Right.
Okay, so people who are not able to do that, I've just figured it out. They don't want to do it.
And they're lazy.
They don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Because then if they take responsibility, then all of a sudden you have to do something about yourself. And it's easier not to. Mm-hmm. Aha. I got it.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, did you have something to say? Because I wanted to.
Yeah, that's fine. We can go on.
No, say it.
Okay. So even though you say that to yourself, it can be something like, I'm not making enough money. It could be like something with money. People have trouble with that. I'm 50. I didn't save any money. Mm-hmm. I didn't do this. I didn't do that with my life. People told me all my life to save money, and I didn't do it. Really? You didn't have the money? You did have the money. You just chose to spend it on something else.
Right.
You chose to buy this new gadget, blah, blah, blah. You chose to buy the new iPhone.
So be honest with your choices.
Exactly. Just tell yourself the truth. You're the only one who knows it anyway.
Right.
So you can tell yourself the lies. You can lie to everybody else, but you can't lie to yourself.
Right.
You know the truth.
I like that. All right, number 5. This is my favorite one. Okay. This is my favorite.
Yay.
The power of taking action. You said that Tony Robbins, your pseudo-boyfriend, says that change... I love Tony Robbins. That's a whole other show.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm going to kick that sage, kick his wife over. And I'm in love with Tony Robbins.
I hear you.
Okay, Tony Robbins says that change only happens once we reach our threshold of pain. And I was reading that. I thought about that, and that's so true. It's so, so true that until we reach our threshold of pain, nothing happens. It seems to me that a willingness to sacrifice is the key to making this step happen. You have to have a willingness to sacrifice, no?
So what Tony Robbins says is actually, you have to reach leverage, meaning enough is enough.
Yeah, like basta.
Enough.
Yeah, see.
That's why you break up with a boyfriend. That's why you quit a job. That's why you do certain things, because you reach that level of leverage. Enough is enough. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do something about it. Now, it's harder to do that when when you have to self-inflict it, when you have to, because let's say you're at a bad job, you don't like your job, but you go there every day, blah blah blah, and I'm gonna have to quit.
Gives you a paycheck,
and then you decide, you know what? Screw this.
I can't take it. I can't take
it anymore. I am quitting, and you quit, and everything is cool because you go because you're proud of yourself. You did it. You're out of there. You cut off. So basically, what he says is to decide. To decide in Latin is to cut off from. So
really? So
make that decision. That's what leverage is. You reach the threshold, like you said, of pain,
misery.
You make that decision to cut yourself off from the pain because it causes you pain, and then you're fine.
You know what else it is? And this is, you mentioned this in the book, and I agree with it 100% because I've seen it in my own clients. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are miserable, but they're not quite miserable enough to do anything about it.
Right.
And it's like you said, some people, they've got to get to the point where they're so miserable and there's so much pain that it doesn't matter what you got to do to get out of it, you're going to do it.
And one of the stories, I think it's in the book, I'm not sure now.
Oh, the dog lying on the...
I think that's a perfect story to tell.
Can I tell that really quick? Yeah, tell it really fast, yeah.
So really fast, this man walked...
Is it a true story, do you think?
I don't think so, but it's a very good metaphor.
It's like a parable.
I heard it too, yes. Okay. So this man goes for a walk every single morning in his neighborhood, and he walks by this house, and he sees a man and a woman in the rocking chair, and there's a dog on the floor, and he's whining and crying like, you really feel sorry for the dog, but he keeps on walking. And then he does this every single day, and like a week goes by, and he sees the same scenario. Those two people are sitting on their chair, and the dog is whining in between them on the floor. And then he says to himself, you know what? Tomorrow morning, if I go around that house and that dog is still whimpering, I'm going to ask what's wrong with the dog. Mm-hmm. So he walks by the next morning, same exact scenario, the two people on the rocking chair, the dog whining and crying on the floor. He walks up to the woman and he says, excuse me, what's wrong with your dog? And she says, oh, him? He's lying on a nail. He goes, well, why doesn't he move? She goes, well, it hurts him enough to cry and moan about it, but not enough to move.
To get up. Yeah.
To get out of there. And what kind of nails are we lying on that we complain and we constantly complain about?
And that's where I think a lot of people are, is it's enough to complain, and it almost gets to the point where complaining is something to do.
Yeah, and the excuses come with it. It's just a chain reaction now.
It just becomes your life.
Yeah.
And so, but I also believe, I also believe that you do have to have the willingness to sacrifice. And I learned that when I really when I started competing as a pro figure competitor. Well, I wasn't a pro when I started. I was an amateur. Mm-hmm. But when I started competing was when I really learned the meaning of the word sacrifice. Mm-hmm. When you have to sacrifice things you want in this moment for a goal, mm-hmm. That kind of thing. And I think if people would just learn the art of delayed gratification, the world would be a better place.
Totally.
Because, But so sacrifice comes into play there.
Sure.
What are you willing to do?
Right.
To get what you say you want.
Right. And so those two questions are in the beginning of the book, where whatever area in your life, think about what is your willingness to learn. And usually people between the scale of 1 to 10, what is your willingness to learn?
Sure.
Most people, it's 8, 9, 10.
Yeah.
And then what is your willingness to accept change? Meaning that you'll have to sacrifice something. You'll have to give up something. And usually that's a low number if, let's say, you decide that it's a 7. Hold on. So 7 times 10 is 70. Is it true that you're 70% satisfied with that part of your life? If that's the truth, then you have the right number. And that means there's work to be done, right? If it's lower than that, you really need to think about what you're willing to sacrifice to change that number around.
Or you need to change your goals. Because I've worked with people that they've got very lofty goals. They're just not willing to do the work involved.
Totally.
And I say, all right, fair enough. Then
Mm-hmm.
change your goals.
Right.
Because with what you're willing to do, this is not going to happen.
Right. That's what I tell my clients.
I've lost clients because I've been honest.
Yeah,
I've lost clients because I've lost clients because well, I've said things before. I've said, okay, what you want is not going to happen. Look at what you look like right now. This is not going to happen. You're not going to be making
overnight anyway, right?
And so Well, with what they were willing to do.
Right.
I was basing it on their unwillingness to do anything.
Totally.
All right, so number 6, what time is it? The power of knowledge. You remind us that people often say that knowledge is power, but actually, knowledge alone can't bring about change. You have to take action.
And you have to implement what you learn. How do you know if it works or not? A lot of people just do the talking. Like I remember once I spoke at this event, and it was a Friday evening, and I was speaking. I was the beginning speaker and the end speaker. Mm-hmm. Cool story. So I told everybody, has anybody here read the book, The Power of Positive Thinking
by Norman Vincent Peale?
By Norman Vincent Peale.
Love him.
And, everybody pretty much, 2/3 raised their hand. Mm-hmm. And one guy in the room said, yeah, everybody read that book. I'm like, who said that? And this guy gets up, he's like, it's me. I was like, what's your name, sir? He said, David. I'm like, David, listen, they rewrote the book. So what I want you to do tonight, and please, everybody, let's encourage David. I want you to go buy the book. It's still 6:00. The store is open. Give me the bill. I'll pay for it. You see my girl over there, just go see her. Mm-hmm. And I don't read the whole thing. I just need you to read just a few pages. You know what? And then on Sunday when I come back, I'm going to call you up and ask you, what did you think? Is that okay, everybody? Let's encourage David. Mm-hmm. Great. Sunday comes, I get on stage, everybody's like, did you have a good time? Yeah, everybody, blah, blah, blah. And then I said, hey, is David around? And he's yelling from the back of the room, I'm here. Mm-hmm. So I say, David, so did you buy the book? He's like, yes. I said, great. Did you get paid? Yes. Awesome. Tell us, what did you think about the book? I said, how long ago did you read the first one? He goes, about 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. I'm like, great. How much did you read this time? He's like, I got a quarter through or a third through. I'm like, that's fine. What did you think? He's like, oh my God, it's an amazing book. I don't remember it being this good. Mm-hmm. I'm like, that's great. Because you know what? They never rewrote the book. It's the same exact book.
He was different.
You that you changed. And that's because also he implemented, probably even subconsciously, he implemented some of the stuff that he read, which he didn't even know. So what people do is that they talk about reading a book. They just say they read it. They don't really know what's in it because they only read it once. I encourage people to read it 6 times minimum. I reread books all the time.
Exactly,
and because I always learn
you're
something
different.
new.
You're different. You're different. Yeah,
right. And I'm looking at things differently. And all of a sudden, this information comes. And also, you cannot absorb everything that's in a book in one reading. It's impossible. Right. You need to go back and say, oh yeah. Right?
Well, and your main point in the book when you made that point, when you told that story was the material didn't change, but you changed. Totally. So the you that came to the material had fresh eyes, fresh ears.
Right. When the student is ready, the teacher will come. You'll always get a lesson when you really need it.
Right.
You don't get it because...
we see with different eyes, and who we are yesterday reads and sees differently than who we are today because of our experiences.
Absolutely.
Now you say, let me see, what time is it? Oh, we're almost out of time. Chad, we'll do one more and then we'll sign off.
Of course,
we'll do one more.
A little bonus content.
All right, let's do. All right, let's just. I've got to pick one more. Okay, I'm going to do The Power of Choice because that was my favorite one. Okay, I'm going to do The Power of Choice. This, we're missing about the power of choice. You say that no matter how bad our situation is, and again, she's got street cred. She's been through some bad stuff. It was bad at the time. We're always in control and we can always choose our thoughts and our actions. Speak to that because there are people who are going to say, sure, Tara, sure, Orly, you two are sitting there. You're happy and healthy. I've got a kid. To be fair, there are people with children who are sick
yes, totally.
Over at Sloan Kettering, where Sloan Kettering. There are people our age.
Totally. Yes.
There are people our age with little beautiful children that are at Sloan frickin' Kettering getting their chemotherapy as we do this podcast.
I hear you.
There's a lot of suffering. Like, I don't even know suffering. Let's put it that way when I hear other people's stuff.
Yes.
So talk to those people because there are a lot of people who are like, yeah, sure, Tara, sure, Orly, that's easy.
Look, we can't change the circumstance as it stands. Okay? There's things we can do about it. We can keep a positive outlook at things, meaning we're still around. They're still around. Maybe we can give them the support that they need in a positive manner because they are going through it. We are not. We need to be there for them in a positive way.
And what do we have in this minute? What do we have in this minute? In this minute.
In this minute, we still have time together.
Yeah.
We still have the love. We still have the time. And that's the time that we don't waste on worrying. We give the time to spend positively with them. And quality time.
And the choice, the power of choice sort of ties in with the gratitude in that you've got to say, all right, a lot of this situation totally sucks. Horrible. Horrifying. But what do we have in this minute? Okay, I'm breathing. You're breathing.
Yes. I have a great husband.
There's a roof over our head. There's not a hurricane. There's not an earthquake. Yeah.
I can breathe freely.
Sometimes the power of choice has to boil down to that simplicity. Narrow. Isn't it true? Possibly the worse things are, the more simple it's got to get, because I mean, when what you're thankful for is I'm breathing.
Right. Let me go through an exercise that I do sometimes.
Very quickly.
I'm going to ask 30 you the question.
Seconds.
We're going to really quick. 30 seconds.
Okay.
What's the worst thing that can happen to you right now?
Death and destruction.
After that?
I can't think of anything.
So nothing?
Yeah.
So why are we worried? Why do we go through all this minutia if at the end of the day, nothing?
Yeah, I used to have a girlfriend. One of my girlfriends. She had the best perspective. No matter what happened, she'd say, "You know what? Nobody I love died." Yeah. And no matter what happened, she would say, "You know what? Nobody I love died."
Right.
Like it's not like none of my children died. Yeah. My husband's okay. I'm okay. And I get seriously, like that's a good attitude.
Totally.
All right. I just want to give. All right. Let me see. Where is we? Oh, we didn't get through so much.
I know.
You'll come back.
If you invite me, I will be back.
All right, listen, if you're let me
awesome.
see, where is we? Where is we?
I love her.
Okay, here we are, outro. I got to organize my papers better. If you're hearing this episode as a podcast and you want to watch the show, even though you missed it on Facebook Live, go to youtube.com/Tara Marie Live and look for the video entitled The 12 Powers We Hold Within, because after it's a Facebook Live post, we grab it, we put it on my YouTube channel. You can also access my YouTube channel on my website, taramarie.com. I want to thank my guest, Orly Amor. I love that. For more information about Orly, visit her website, orlyamor.com. I'm going to spell that, ORLYAMOR.com. Her book, The 12 Powers We Hold Within, is available on her website, orlyamor.com. It's also available on amazon.com. I'm going to take a moment now for just a very, very quick Tara Marie's Tips segment. Chad, that's okay? All right, so listen. This is what I want to say, and this piggybacks on what we just talked about. All of life is a mental game, and I believe that the sooner you figure that out and apply that knowledge to your life, the happier you will be, the more successful you'll be. As a personal trainer, people who have come to me as clients over the 33 years that I've done it have, generally speaking, been seeking physical transformation. Some people are athletic and they just want to tweak their game. Some people are moms and dads and they just want to maintain fitness. But most people are really unhappy with where they are in their lives from a physical standpoint. They've let themselves go. They've let themselves get to a point where they just never would have imagined that they would ever get to this point. They've let their health slip. They haven't taken care of themselves. I want you to understand that if this is speaking to you, please know that physical transformation, anything in the physical world that you can see with your eyes or touch with your hands, really dials back to the mental, because everything in your physical world is a manifestation of what's going on in your mind, and that really includes your body. Your body is a manifestation of your priorities, your values, your self-worth. If you value whether or not you value your health, whether or not you value your body. So you speak volumes the way you present yourself in the world. So if you are looking to seek physical transformation in your life, which is my area of expertise, I would ask that you consider that your priority be your mental transformation first and foremost. When you mentally transform, and I mean really mentally transform the way you value yourself, your priority system, the things you love, your relationship with food, when those things mentally transform, All of this on the outside will take care of itself. Mm-hmm. Because the body's meant to be a certain way, and it's not obese and out of shape and deconditioned and diseased. And so your body can heal, your body can take care of itself. But again, I'm asking you to go within and understand that this is all a mental game. All of this is a mental game. When you get that, I think you're going to win the game of life. Thank you so much for tuning in. I've enjoyed being with you today. Chad, any parting words?
I love this.
Facebook Live.
Yes.
I want to say thank you on Facebook Live for joining us. And to my podcast listeners, it's always a blessing being with you. Thank you so much. I hope that you'll join me next time. If you've got comments about the show, I want to hear them. Tell me what's on your mind. On Twitter, I'm at TaraMarie_live. At TaraMarie_live. You can use the hashtag TaraMarieLive, and I'll see your comments. Please rate and review TaraMarie Live on iTunes. Go to iTunes and give me a 5-star rating. Is that what you're going to do, Orly?
Absolutely.
Give me a 5-star rating. If you like the show, I hope you'll subscribe. And if you don't like the show, I still hope you'll subscribe. You can just go to, Chad and I want subscribers, right, Chad? You can go to TaraMarie Live. And you can go to iTunes or Google Play. If you go to TaraMarie.com, all the subscription icons are there. Google Play, iTunes, RSS feed. You can go to do that on TaraMarie.com. That's TaraMarie.com. On my website, all past episodes are listed. So if you're just finding the podcast, go to TaraMarie.com. On the all episodes page, everything's posted there for you. And please sign up for my mailing list. When you're on my mailing list, you'll get my newsletter with Tara Marie's tips about nutrition, fitness, motivation, and getting on the path to health. And I'll always send out notification about the latest episode of my podcast. On Facebook, I'm on facebook.com/Tara Marie Live. And again, Twitter at @TaraMarie_live. I wish you happiness and good health. Make better choices today than you did yesterday. And you'll always be moving in the right direction. Mwah. Peace out.